I want you to spot the difference between this
Here, let me help you. F is for friends who do stuff together. U is for you and me. Try it!
N is for anywhere and anytime at all. Down here in the deep blue sea.
and this.
Oh, well, after you.
Why? So you can stab me in the back?
No, because it's polite. Aunt Lucy said if we're kind and polite, the world will be right.
I'm just going to be completely transparent for a moment. I don't like SpongeBob. I think he comes off as childish and immature. On the other hand, I completely adore Paddington Bear. Which is odd because these two clips I shared earlier effectively share a common thread, an overtly positive and optimistic character imparting their perspective onto a more grizzled and cynical character. And both do impact other characters for arguably the better. Plankton begins to change for the better in this episode,
And after that, we frolic through the flowers.
and Knuckles opens up and becomes an ally to Paddington. Both SpongeBob and Paddington are forces of positivity and kindness, but SpongeBob is seen as immature and naive, while Paddington is seen as charming and altruistic. Why does this disparity occur? In the actual episode in which the fun song originates from, Season 1, Episode 10B, titled Fun, SpongeBob tries to befriend Plankton. His unbridled optimism calls him to believe that there's an inherent goodness in Plankton.
Who knows? Maybe he's changed.
Who knows? I think you know!
He's changed, I tell you.
This outlook on life is actually pretty admirable. Throughout the episode, we see Plankton slowly change and respond to SpongeBob's kindness. We see that maybe he is right and people are truly good.
I bet if he had just one friend, he wouldn't be such a meanie.
But in the end, SpongeBob is wrong.
All right, it's true. I tricked you to get the Krabby Patty. But then you showed me friendship. And now I realize that's all I ever really wanted.
Really?
No, not really.
And Plankton truly is just a selfish person. SpongeBob is made out to be in the wrong at the end of the episode. The idea of friendship and inherent goodness is played as a punchline at the end of the episode. How can any child whose parents did let them watch SpongeBob take any positive message from this episode? This episode came so close to portraying an interesting debate for a children's audience, yet they chose to play it off as a joke. I couldn't help but compare the message of this episode of SpongeBob to one of my favorite films of all time, Paddington 2. The main plot of Paddington 2 revolves around the titular character Paddington Bear as he is framed for theft. He is sent to prison in which he befriends an ensemble of weirdos and criminals. While he doesn't sing a song about the true meaning of fun, he genuinely makes a change in both the prison but also the prisoners who inhabit it. Take this scene from earlier in the film.
How'd you like to be buried in a very deep hole?
After you.
And compare it to this.
Good luck, little bear.
Paddington has made a change in all the prisoners. Unlike SpongeBob, Paddington is successful and in the right. People are inherently good. Paddington has a more positive example of good faith. He is rewarded for seeing the good in others, and in turn promotes said kindness out into the world. Why is this representation of optimism and positivity different? Once again, where does this disparity form? Both characters share the worldview of kindness in the face of adversity. So why is it that for SpongeBob, it's a flaw when it's a strength for Paddington? In a study by the National Library of Medicine, the effectiveness of prioritizing positivity was explored. In one study, a group of people were presented with an article, and then were sat to watch a clip. Some participants read an article citing the importance of maximizing positivity, while others read an article completely unrelated to the study. The idea was that positive-enabled participants who read the article about positivity would react more positively towards the happy clips than the control group. However, the inverse was found true. People who tried maximizing their happiness only were left disappointed. They even oddly felt guilty, almost as if they failed to live up to the positivity of others, and in doing so, worsening their moods. Throughout this episode, SpongeBob has been trying to deliver a pizza. He is motivated by the positive reaction of a satisfied customer.
I can't wait to see the look on our customer's face.
This expectation pushes him to endure hardship, weather, and hunger. And how is he rewarded?
Congratulations, sir. Your Krabby Patty pizza is here.
Wow, thanks. I've been dying for one of these. Where's my drink?
What drink?
My drink? My Diet Dr. Kelp? Don't tell me you forgot my drink!
But you didn't order any.
How am I supposed to eat this pizza without my drink? Didn't you ever once think of the customer? You call yourself a delivery boy? Well, I ain't buying!
He is left disappointed and feeling negative, throwing a tantrum. Trying to maximize positivity only sets yourself up to crash and burn when that expectation eventually fails. So what? Is it wrong to try to create positivity in our own lives? Well, in a different study, a newer method of increasing well-being was tested. Rather than maximizing the positivity provided by a singular event, the idea of maximizing the amount of positive events in your life was presented and tested. Instead of maximizing positivity, one is prioritizing it. They took a large sample size of people and had them fill out several surveys regarding positivity and valuing happiness. In doing so, they found that prioritizing positivity positively influenced people's well-being. Think about it like this. Instead of going into every situation with the goal of making it a positive experience, instead make small changes in your life that make more positive situations occur. I think Paddington's a good example of this model of positivity. Looking back at the prison scene, we see him trying to make positive changes by offering improvements to their standard of living. We also see Paddington exhibit the same characteristics earlier in the film with his neighbors. He improves his own quality of life and the lives of others by providing a sense of community through acts of kindness. It is also important to note the historical significance Paddington has entrenched into his character. Paddington is an allegorical character for refugees. His creator, the late author Michael Bond, grew up during World War II.
My mother, I'd put round its neck. I had memories of children arriving at Reading Station.
Paddington's story is one of showing kindness to those in need. He himself is a refugee from darkest Peru, stranded in Paddington Station. The tag around his neck with the instructions, "Please take care of this bear," harkening back to the displaced children who had no idea where to go or where their parents were. Had the Browns not taken him into their home and given him care, he would have been alone in that station. It was that one act of kindness that led to the domino effect of Paddington. An interesting fact brought up in this interview with Michael Bond was the fact that Paddington was not written with a child audience in mind.
I wasn't writing it with any age group in mind, and I think that's been very valuable with Paddington.
In fact, a larger fan response came from adults, including recently decorated pilots. And on that day, the number of adults who were sending emails was a couple of very full pages. Paddington as a character was not intended to be entertainment for children, but rather a reflection of the author's relationship with war and displaced children. Paddington was a personal character whose story reflected aspects of Bond's life. Paddington wasn't for the kids, even though he is a talking bear, but rather for the children who lived through this terrifying experience. The children who, like Paddington, were separated from their families, now grown up. The children Michael Bond's parents gave refuge to. Paddington is a symbol of the impact of what kindness and positivity can have on a person receiving it, not giving. On the other hand, SpongeBob is a character created for children's entertainment. But is that enough of an excuse for his poor portrayal of kindness and positivity? Steven Hillenburg, the creator of SpongeBob, spoke in an interview about SpongeBob. specifically about how the character should be perceived.
SpongeBob is an adult character that acts like a child, and he has a child's perspective, and he's well-meaning, but this often causes him trouble. I would say the show is really about not losing your childlike sense in life, you know, that it can be helpful in solving problems. It also can cause trouble.
With this in mind, SpongeBob as a character makes more sense. He is a representation of childhood and whimsy from an adult perspective. He comes off as immature because he is. Even though he is an adult, he still holds on to his youth. He looks at the world through the eyes of a child. But where this mentality falters is an issue not in the character, but in his writing. SpongeBob has been on the air for over 25 years, and with that long existence, SpongeBob has become vulnerable to a trope that plagues long-running television: Flanderization. Flanderization is a phenomenon in fiction in which a character slowly becomes distilled into a singular trait. The etymology of the word refers to Ned Flanders from The Simpsons, who over the progression of the show goes from a model father, devoted Christian, to an over-the-top Christian stereotype.
My Satan sense is tingling.
SpongeBob is no exception. His childlike innocence and worldview is played up to an extreme, and slowly, that adult seeing the world through the eyes of a child is swallowed by the immature and childish sponge I grew up with. They dumbed down his character for the sake of keeping children entertained. But is that so wrong? Isn't the point of children's entertainment to entertain? Yes, a child can watch SpongeBob and find him entertaining, but the standards of entertainment shouldn't be limited to what children find engaging. There is a power the media has to shape a collective opinion. So while yes, SpongeBob can be entertaining, he paints the idea of treating others with kindness as a flaw. Paddington shows the ideal of positivity in media, and in turn promotes an ideal for the people consuming his media. Kindness should not be seen as a flaw of a naive person, but rather the strength of a polite and well-mannered individual.
What are you all doing here?
We wanted to say thank you.
Thank you.
For everything you've done for us.
Toodles.